Thank you very much, comrades. Can we do the entire test, including the cameras, everything? So everyone be in position. We're doing a dry run. There are commissars in our midst. I see the chairperson of Free State, Commissar Mandisa Makesini.
No.
She is here with us. Makesini is here.
Provincial Secretary of
Provincial Chairperson of Free State. We see you. We also see commissars here. I see commissars. I'm not going to mention them by name for now. Commissar Daly is also going to basically just speak to it. We're just testing, comrades. We are just testing our systems if everything is coordinated properly. This is EFF's Women's Rally. We're just simply testing sound. I'm not hearing the feed from my monitors, so we want more on the monitors. Remember, it's a speaking sound, so I must be able to hear as a speaker right now, and the speakers that will come must also be able to hear. We must observe social distancing. It's very important, commissars and fighters. We haven't seen each other in a long time, I know, but it's important that we observe social distancing. It is very important. There are sanitizing points at every entry point, so you must at least, even if you have done it Just for today, you're not at home, so we don't know where we've been. We are not always with each other, so it's important that we sanitize all the time. What else? Are we fine? The sound. So, commissars, you can also go on your social media platforms. YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Let's check. Everyone, let's see if everything is proper and well coordinated. You are here on Women's Day Rally. We are at the Four Ways Memorial Park. We are visiting Mama Matikizela Mandela. It is today at 12 that the Commander-in-Chief will speak. And so we will start, Julie, at 12 o'clock sharp. Right now, this is merely just a test. Comrades, can we remove these pieces of paper? Are we fine? The technical team, is the sound fine?
Are you fine with this one? Yeah.
Commissars?
It sounds very fine.
Yeah, but I think the direction, if you can, it gives you your feet. Okay. Social media, those who are on social media, commissars, if you need assistance, Bumi is there to assist. Are we fine? Commissar, Dr. Susan, social media, are you fine? Are you checking? I don't want people looking in space. Please, on your phones, technology. Engage the people. Eh? It's a rally, Chief. There are a lot of people here. Please. We're testing. Commissar Daly, also test with your voice.
Greetings, beautiful ladies. Greetings, CCT members, provincial leadership, our esteemed guests. You all look very beautiful. It is a day that we are celebrating as women today. So, does it sound fine? Can you hear me properly? Because I hear an echo. Sounds like there's an echo, Nyana. I think there's an echo, Commissar Vuyan. Yeah, I can hear an echo from where I'm standing. Sue, is it happening there? You must tweet to me there and say, because Delisile here is speaking. Ah, hi Ruth, I didn't see you. This mask, we can't see each other. Ladies, let us wait for 12 o'clock. It's good that we are seated at this time. 11:15. Yeah, it's going down now. The echo is fine. The echo is fine now. A song, Mina. Shoo, I can't sing. Which song can I sing? Senzeni na yo, senzeni na, senzeni na, senzeni na. Amapunu yo ai amapunu ayo ai zi amapunu ai zinja mapunu. Amandla. No, I think we are ready, Commissar.
I'll continue, Commissar.
Yeah, yeah?
Do a poem.
Why do a poem? Let's call one CCT member who can do a poem for us. Who can do that? A poem. Like, just be creative and say whatever. Anyone? Let us sing. I can't sing. Anyone who wants to sing, come and sing then. Okay, what song should I sing? Give me a song. Give me a song, Commissars. I can't remember a song now. Angikwazi kuyilida ke le. Ibambeni. Ibambeni webafana. Ibambe. Wezimbokodo. Isibhamu salabafazi zingisikhumbuza Winnie Mandela izibhamu zalabafazi zisikhumbuza Winnie Mandela ibambeni webafa ibambeni wezinsi ibambeni webafazi ibambeni zimbokodo izibhamu zalabafazi zisikhumbuza Winnie Mandela akuna sound at all alabafazi zisikhumbuza Winnie Mandela. Are we done? Ibambeni webafazi ibambeni wembokodo ibambeni webafazi ibambeni zimbokodo izibhamu labafazi zisikhumbuza Winnie Mandela izibhamu zalabafazi zisikhumbuza Winnie Mandela ibambeni webafazi ibambeni wezinsi ibambeni webafa ibambeni zimbokodo izibhamu zalabafazi zisikhumbuza Winnie Mandela izibhamu zalabafazi zisikhumbuza Winnie Mandela. I'm tired.
With the voice. I'm trying to make her cognizant of whatever she says. You're lying on social media. So whatever
izibhamu zalabafazi zisikhumbuza Winnie Mandela izibhamu zalabafazi zisikhumbuza ibambeni webafazi ibambeni wezimbo. Can we arrange our sitting properly, Commissars? CCT members, all of you come closer here. That every CCT member is here, and then provincial leadership will go behind there. Nibahle bafazi, nibahle zimbokodo. Nibahle. You are ready to fight.
YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. We're checking. Sound. Can you hear us? We're not going to cut. We see the Deputy President has also arrived. We're checking sound, testing. Are we fine? YouTube, all social media, Facebook. Are we fine? The team? Twitter? Let's go. Let's get Twitter right. So, Commissar Taylor, please come. We want those songs again. We want those songs again. We're already live. We're already live. The monitors are fine. Sounds good. Can you hear commissars and fighters? Loud and clear? Okay. Commissar Teli.
Amandla. Awethu. Wathinta abafazi. Wathinta imbokodo. Oh, ibambeni webafazi. Ibambeni wezimbodo. Ibambeni webafazi. Ibambeni zimbogodo. Oh, izibhamu zalabafazi. Zisikhumbuza oh Winnie Mandela oh izibhamu zalabafazi zisikhumbuza oh Winnie Mandela zibambeni webafazi zibambeni webagodo zibambeni webafa so zibambeni zimbogodo izibhamu zalabafazi zisikhumbuza oh Winnie Mandela oh izibhamu zalabafazi zisikhumbuza oh Winnie Mandela ibambeni webafazi ibambeni wembogodo ibambeni webafazi ibambeni ozimbogodo oh izibhamu zalabafazi zisikhumbuza yo Winnie Mandela oh izibhamu zalabafazi zisikhumbuza yo Winnie Mandela amandla awethu amandla awethu wathinta abafazi wathinta imbokodo wathinta abafazi wathinta imbokodo happy women's month happy women's day happy women's month happy women's day thank you beautiful women of the EFF we welcome you nibahle kakhulu all of you you are dressed properly you're dressed very nicely niyamasoja imbokodo zase EFF this is a war this is a battle that we have started we are dressed in this manner because we are in mourning we have nothing to celebrate as the women in South Africa in the entire Africa in the world there is absolutely nothing to celebrate when you are a woman hence we are wearing in black today to make sure that the world and everyone who's watching knows that we as the women of the EFF, the CCT women of every member of the EFF who is a woman, now we have waged war against everything and everyone who is going to fight us. So this is the beginning, fighters. This is the beginning, commissars. This is the beginning of war, a war that we intend to win. So sibambile zimbokodo. We have our own weapons. We might not be carrying guns, but we have our voices. And we are going to speak up until someone takes notice, until someone hears us, until there is a change that we want, until we are given our place in this world. We will continue to fight. We will continue to make them feel uncomfortable. We will continue to fight for our space in this world, in this country. So this is just the beginning, fighters. Through throughout this month, we will be doing programs, but this is not where it stops. This is going to be a battle because we want to leave a legacy. We want to create a legacy for those who come behind us. Because, oh, Mama Winnie fought for us. This is a relay. They have given us the baton. We are going on now so that those who are coming behind us, they know where to start off, where we left off. So we are not going to give them an impression that we are weak women, because we know we are not weak. We have the strength, we have the power. We're going to fight it in the legislation. We're going to fight in the police. We're going to fight in every sector where we feel that we need to fight and claim our space. So this is the beginning, Commissars. Let us from today onwards, let there be a voice. Let us not be pacified by anything or anyone. We have all the rights to be here. We have all the rights to be members of this country. Inequality must fall. Inequality must fall. We are claiming our place right now. We are claiming our space right now. We are doing it for our girl children. Because what we are going through right now, if we do not fight, history will judge us. So we must take up our weapons and fight. And we have our voices as our weapon. My voice, my power. My voice, my power. My voice, my power. Let us fight, Zimbogodo. CIC will be coming in less than 30 minutes. And I think we are all here sitting properly. Let us continue to observe the social distancing. There is water there, so if we are thirsty, as I am now, my throat is very dry. There is water there. Sanitize us. Let us sanitize regularly. We'd like to thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts, Commissars, for showing commitment that even in the time that we are in, the time of this pandemic, when everyone is hiding, when everyone is staying at home, when everyone feels defeated, but here you are. You drove all the way. You made sure that you are here today, because this is not a social event. We are making a statement here. We are starting a battle here. So for you to be here shows Uguti you are a very compassionate group of women. You are women who are willing to fight for other women. You are women who are prepared for whatever is coming our way. Because even this pandemic could have caused us not to be here if we were fearful and we felt, but we want to stay home and protect ourselves. So I'm thankful to you all, Commissars and fighters, and to the gentlemen who are all here to support us. We are very grateful to have men who can stand with us in this time to say we are supporting you women. Whatever you want to do, we are behind you so that we win this battle. This is the battle we're going to win, most definitely. Ngiyabonga Zimbogodo. Thank you very much. Commissar Vuyani, what is next? Can we have a song, fighters? Well, asoze laphela mandla leli lizwe elamakhosikazi asoze saphela mandla asoze saphela mandla asoze saphela mandla leli lizwe elamakhosikazi asoze saphela mandla asoze saphela mandla asoze saphela mandla leli lizwe elamakhosikazi asoze saphela mandla asoze saphela mandla asoze saphela amandla, asoze saphela amandla, asoze saphela amandla, asoze saphela amandla, asoze saphela amandla. Elamakhosikazi leli lizwe, asoze saphela amandla, asoze saphela amandla, asoze saphela amandla. Amandla awethu, viva Zimbokodo, viva, viva Zimbokodo, viva, viva Zimbokodo, viva. Down with GBV, down, down with femicide, down, down with correctional rapes, down, down with domestic violence, down, down with sex for jobs, down, down for the killing of children and women, down, down for the inequality, down. Amandla awethu. We welcome the national chairperson, the TG and the DSG, our DP and our SG. We thank you very much for your presence. Can we have our last song before Commissar Vuyani comes forward? Malibongwe ma, malibongwe ma, igama lamakhosikazi malibongwe, igama lamakhosikazi malibongwe, malibongwe malibongwe.
But I was just going to say that President is on his way. Is that we are going to
Is it not NC who's officiating?
Yeah, I'm saying now in the meantime. So you're going
Until
to give it to
CIC.
yeah.
So should I give it her when?
Yeah, just keep singing. When the president comes, you give it to him.
Akhosikazi malibongwe, 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 igama lamakhosikazi malibongwe. Asiculeni fighters, asiculeni commissars, makube nesigi. Malibongwe, 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 igama lamakhosikazi malibongwe, igama lamakhosikazi malibongwe, 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 gama lamakhosikazi malibongwe, igama lamakhosikazi malibongwe, 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 lamakhosikazi malibongwe, igama lamakhosikazi malibongwe. Good. Malibongwe, 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 malibongwe. Malibongwe, 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 malibongwe. Malibongwe, 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 malibongwe. Amandla. Away, two. Keep them coming, commissars. Keep them coming. Keep them coming, commissars. Igama lamakhosikazi malibongwe, 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 malibongwe. Provincial Chairperson of Free State, give us a song. Give us a song, Provincial Chairperson of the Free State, Mbokodo. Let's keep the momentum, commissars. We've been doing very well. Kesandle sambantu akunamuntu ophethe umhlaba aye ini socialism.
Amandla. Amandla. Thank you very much, Imbokodo. I can see you're looking very beautiful in black. Accordingly, we're about to start. Please let us be ready. But also, importantly, let us observe social distancing. It's very important. Try by all means. Our chairs are set in such a way that there is social distancing. It is important. I can see everyone. Please, let's observe social distancing. We are encouraging social distancing. Every entrance has got a sanitizing station. So as you enter, there's a sanitizing station. So if you need water, just perhaps indicate, we'll assist. But let us try and make sure that there's social distancing as much as we can. If you want to whisper, I think it's better if you send a WhatsApp as opposed to going to anyone's ear. We are in new times, so let's meet emoyeni. I think we're fine, comrades. Commissar Daly, I think that song was very nice. Please continue.
Umhlaba wonke ezandleni zabantu akunamuntu ophethe umhlaba. Asukumeni lefathers, asukumeni commissars. Namuntu socialism. Umhlaba wonke ezandleni zabantu, akunamuntu ophethe umhlaba ngaye abayesaba. Kongqondo babefuna ukuphatha umnyala ngabantu, bayesaba mapho kongqondo ngoba befuna ukusetshenzelwa yini socialism kezandleni zaba akunamuntu yini socialism akunamuntu babefuna abayesaba babefuna yini socialism mhlaba wonke ezandleni akunamuntu yini socialism akunamuntu amandla. Can we have a very powerful song, Commissars and Fighters, to welcome our CIC quickly? Oh, ibambeni wembokodo, ibambeni wembafazi, ibambeni zimbokodo, oh izibhamu zalabafazi zisikhumbuza Winnie Mandela, oh izibhamu zalabafazi zisikhumbuza Winnie Mandela, ibambeni webafazi, ibambeni zimbokodo, ibambeni webafazi, ibambeni zimbokodo. Amandla awethu, amandla. Thank you, Commissars and Fighters. We will welcome our national chairperson. We thank the CIC for being here. National chairperson, over you.
Amandla, amandla, amandla. Viva EFF, viva. Viva EFF, viva. Long live the spirit of Mama Winnie, long live. Long live the spirit of Mama Winnie, long live. Winnie Mandela, Mandela, Mandela. Hauna ya twanaliwe Winnie Mandela, Mandela, Mandela. Hauna ya twanaliwe, hauna ya twanaliwe na. Hauna ya tshwana le wena. Winnie Mandela, 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 unaya tshwana le wena. Amandla. You may be seated. Thank you very much, spokesperson, Commissar Delisile. Let me welcome everyone to this very short event when we are here to listen to the President taking us through the struggles of women and what the EFF is going to do for women of Africa, for women of the world. President, if it was our ordinary meeting, simply because now we operate in abnormal circumstances, we were going to be introducing people and taking a roll call. But I want to take this opportunity and take a roll call of stalwarts, a roll call of women who were only there for us when we were born. The only women that took us through and gave us strength as the EFF to be where we are today. Allow me to take this roll call of just only 5 women. But the list is not limited to the names I'm going to call. The list extends to the mothers who have given birth to the leadership of the EFF, to the leadership at all levels, and to the fighters of the EFF. Let's now take the roll call and say, we have today, Koko Malema is here present. We have today, Mama Nosebenzile Mpofu is here present. We're here today, Mama Winnie Mandela is here present. We're here today, Mama Zinzi Mandela is here present. But in Africa, we have a woman who's an activist and a doctor by profession. The only voice that's left in Africa of women, Her Excellency Dr. Arikana Chiombori Kwao. She's still alive. I want to thank you fighters for coming. Thank you commissars. And you are all welcome in the EFF Women's event. And let me take this opportunity then to give to the commissars who are going to open for us with Nkosi Sigelela, followed up by the prayer. Nkosi Sigelela will be sang by Commissar Rosina Komane. Please come up. Immediately after Commissar Rosina, Commissar Delisile will take the stage. Then I will take it from there. Nkosi Sigelela is the only song we sing in gatherings of this nature when we call upon the superpowers to give us strength. Over to you, Commissar.
Nkosi sikeleli Afrika maluphakanyisa upondo lwayo izwa imithandazo yethu Nkosi sikelela thina lusapho lwayo Nkosi sikeleli Afrika maluphakanyisa upondo lwayo izwa imithandazo yethu Nkosi sikeleli lathina lusapho lwayo oza moya oza moya oza moya oyingcwele Nkosi sikelela athina lusapho lwayo oza moya oza moya oza moya oyingcwele Nkosi sikelela athina lusapho lwayo morena boloka setšhaba sa eso morena boloka o fedise dintwa le matshwenye o se boloke setšhaba sa eso setšhaba sa Afrika o se boloke morena setšhaba sa eso setšhaba sa Afrika magube njalo guze kube phakade kuze kuna magube njalo kuze kube kuna phakade kuze kube kuna phakade amandla.
Amandla. Awethu. Can we please bow our heads and pray? Heavenly Father, we come before your throne of grace this morning. Lord, we lay ourselves on your feet on this day that is called a day of celebration for women, but we have nothing to celebrate, Father. Heavenly Father, we call upon you. Give us strength, give us wisdom as women of this country, as women of the EFF, women of the entire Africa and women of the world. Father, we are faced with a giant, an enemy, Nkulunkulu Namandla, in the name of GBV, in the name of femicide. Your children are dying. Your children, Nkulunkulu Namandla, are faced by a battle, Baba, that needs your strength and needs your power. Our government has forsaken us, Nkulunkulu Namandla. We are on our own. We have no one to fight for us. Heavenly Father, as you did, Nkulunkulu no Musa, when you gave David the strength and the wisdom to put the giant Goliath on his feet, give us strength, give us wisdom as the women, Baba, that we may be able to put down this enemy that we are facing. Let us put this giant on his knees in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. We know that you are with us. They may forsake us, Nkulunkulu Namandla, but you are always with us, surrounding us, Jehovah Namandla Wonke. Give the leadership of the EFF the power, the wisdom, the strength to lead the women of this country and of the entire world out of this evil that is taking place right now. Father, in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, we have declared war. We have declared war against the enemy of women. We have declared war against poverty. We have declared war against inequality, and we need you to help us to carry this further in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Father, we thank you. We honor you for your presence in this place with us. We thank you for our ancestors. We thank you for our forefathers and our foremothers who have led us up to this way. Now we ask you, Jehovah, give us strength to take it forward and fight this battle. We declare victory upon all this inequality that is happening towards the women and the children of this world. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, we thank you. Amen.
Mandibulele kukhomisa Komane na kukhomisa Delisile. Fighters, commissars, president and officials. Today we are supposed to be celebrating, yet we cannot celebrate because the state has declared war against women. Let me talk to just two things before we call on the next item. The brutality of the state and the self-defense as a woman. How are we brutalized, tortured, abused, day in, day out by the government of today, not just in South Africa, in Africa, but in the world. The struggles of women are perpetrated and perpetrators is continued by the state. The reason we are here today is because as women, when we go to the clinic, kubuyagula. You want to test and check what is your problem. You go to the clinic as a woman because you are pregnant. You want the state to take care of you. And upon those test results coming back and say you are HIV positive, by that time, you are traumatized. You don't know what to do. A doctor in the state facility tells you that you have one choice. A choice for you to access ARVs and a choice for you to access the treatment of mother-to-child transmission is when you agree to be sterilized. You get forcefully and coerced into sterilization because you must choose life. And that's a doctor in the hospital of the state. You are there, you don't know what is happening. You don't know the meaning of sterilization. You agree to things you do not know that are not explained to you simply because you want to choose life. And that time you were pregnant with the only child and hoping to have more children. A doctor takes a sole decision to cut your life short as a woman and not have regard of the implications of you not having a uterus as a woman and not realize that if you live in rural areas and you cannot bear a boy child, you will not have access to land. And not realize that when you get married By the time you get married, you must first explain and relieve the sterilization and the moment you were told you are HIV positive to your new partner that I cannot give you babies. That's the state we live in today. But even when those women, all of them combined, put their heads together, took the government to the Commission for Gender Equality with the hope that the state is going to hear them. As a Chapter 9 CGE releases a report and recommendations, no one acts upon them. No one cares. At the end, they come to the EFF. Those who had viewed outside there how we challenged the Chapter 9 report on Kandla, they had seen nothing compared to what we are going to do, challenging the CGE report in that parliament. We are not going to sit with a government that doesn't want to listen to us, that refuses to hear us. We sit here today with a lawyer that has met all the requirements, but she cannot practice the law. Why? She has a criminal offense, Advocate Bull, of being a sex worker. In the line of being a sex worker, who did you harm? No one. But let me tell you this. She was arrested alone. What happened to the men who she was offering the services to? Nothing. All of them, they are practicing their careers of choice. She cannot be a lawyer today because she fend for her life. She paid for her studies through sex work. She fed her family through sex work. But today, she's crucified because she's a woman. The government is refusing to decriminalize sex work. We sit here today. We have widows created by the state in Marikana. We have widows, a widow of Collins Khosa, created by the state. Does the state care? Do they ever go back and see what's happening to those women? The same EFF had to provide shelter for the women of the slain miners. No one else cares. The state does not care. We sit here today with women that cannot walk the streets freely because there are people who want to impose their morality on them and want to correct their sexual orientation. Because you are a lesbian, you must be corrected. A term that I hate so much called corrective rape. But you don't just suffer that as a woman. When you get to the police station to report that rape, the first thing you are confronted with is unfriendliness of the police. There's no counselor to counsel you. You have to wait for that for hours. There's no detective of the FCS to take care of you and transport you to the doctor. There's no DNA kit in the police station. You have to wait for something like 6 hours because this government deploys one detective of the FCS for a cluster of no less than 5 police stations a day. Where now you must sit with a dirty semen of a rapist with you the whole day. What does that mean? You are being raped throughout, and the state doesn't care. As if it's going to end when you get to the hospital, even when the doctor says the damage done to your vagina is too much, you have to undergo an operation. But they will still release you back. They will still not hospitalize you at that moment. They will tell you, wait for the day the theater is full. You live with that throughout as a woman. And nobody cares until whatever year there's an opening in theater for you to be fixed. What happens to you during that time as a woman? You can't even have a proper partner because you must explain a situation that is not of your own doing. And the state is nowhere to protect you. Fighters and commissars, I want to show how this government, not just in South Africa, but in Africa, disregards the laws. 1979, the UN adopts a treaty on the Convention of the elimination of every form of discrimination against women, ratified everywhere. But this country disregards that. Not only that, 2005, the Maputo Protocol was was effected, being adopted in 2003 in Maputo for human rights and women's rights, with reproductive rights to be recognized in South Africa and Africa. This country ratified, but let me tell you, as late as 2018, there was still a woman being sterilized against her will. With all those treaties, with all those protocols, this country had signed. We have a problem. We're facing the brutality of the state. We're facing men. But who's the enabler is the state. If the state can catch one man, keep them away and not offer them bail, we are not going to have a next monster. But because they get offered bail, I want to talk to defense. They get offered bail, released back to our society even when they raped 3-year-olds. We are expected to welcome them with a smile. That has to end. We have to fight ourselves. We have to do everything to fight for our survival. If the state cannot keep the monster away, we're going to make sure that the monster goes down 6 feet. That's the only way. Mama Miriam Makeba once said, if these men cannot teach their sons how to behave and respect women, we're going to shoot their brains out. Man, you are not going to have a man breathing down on you when you have said no. Kaninja. You are not going to sit and wait for the police when you find a man on top of your child and be expected to smile and say, come here, we're waiting for the police. The next thing, that same person, when they get to jail, the first thing that happens to them, and the first time they come to appear at court, we're talking about the rape, the bail. The very first appearance is not about the victim. It's about the perpetrator being bailed. So whose rights have been violated here? The perpetrator's rights or my rights as a woman? The person gets bail. And when they get the bail, they come back to the society to rape another woman. Only then the state will realize that you don't qualify for bail because you are a repeated offender. The first offender is as much as a repeated offender, because when you rape a woman, you rip a soul out of her. On defense, fighters were here. We are going to do everything in that parliament to reform the law. There is no monster that's going to go to jail and get bail. There is no monster that's going to go to jail and have access to healthcare, have access to food, have access to everything released when we're there. There's not going to be parole for people who think they have superiority over women. We are here as the EFF with our law and the legal experts, led by the first national chair, Dalimpof, and our lawyer, Godrich Gad, with our legal team of the EFF. We're going to take them toe to toe at court every day. If they think they've seen something against GBV, we've been protesting, we've been serving memorandums, we've been doing everything, we've been talking. Did they listen? It's not going to happen. We are going to have a gender-based violence desk in the EFF, and we have a labor desk. Women, feel free to call the EFF to help you. Before I call the sectors that are going to come and give us the mandate, I want to congratulate the very first woman and the very first black woman to be appointed by the United Nations as a rapporteur on issues of health, Dr. Tlaleng Mofokeng Ngwanaqwaqwa. Thank you very much, Doctor. We know what you are capable of. We are not going to give you a mandate, but you know our sufferings. You know how our civic society suffers in order for them to help the opposition to have a voice in this country. Go and fight for us. I'm going to call on the sectors that have come to the EFF for help to give us a mandate on what do they want us to do as the EFF. The first to come, please occupy the first seats. The first will be the sterilization group, represented by Sis Zandi, all the way from KZN. The second one will come immediately after Sis Zandi, will be the sex workers group, Sis Bongile. Please come and sit next to Sis Zandi. Then the next one will be Sis Loyiso from LGBTQI plus community. And the last one will be Sis Yolanda, speaking on GBV in South Africa. Sis Zandile, please come and take the podium.
Thank you, Chairperson. Igama lami nginguzandile Mkhize from Emlazi, KZN. I'm one of the women who was sterilized at the age of 19 years old. Today, I'm going to speak on my experience that I faced in the public sector hospital. I was 38 weeks zonke amasonto. Ngangena egumbini lakadokotela, ngahlala phansi. I greeted the doctor. I gave the doctor my file, and it was a male doctor. And seated next to him was a young lady. I think this was an intern. As soon as he opened my file, at that time it was 2007. Our files were written. I think they had a barcode or they written that you're HIV positive. As soon as he opened my file, even today I can see that face. It says, look at me and said, why abantu besifazane, in English, why abantu besifazane aba HIV positive belokhe bezala? And he turned to Losis Losekaleni, what yangicika lento? It makes me mad. And he returned to me. He was speaking about me as if I wasn't there. I felt humiliated. Then he turned to me and he asked me, do you want to be sterilized? What I was supposed to say? Surely I was supposed to say, yes, I want to be sterilized. I was intimidated by what he said to me. I was intimidated by the white coat that he was wearing as a doctor, which means what he said to me was the right thing for me. He wrote me a date because I was overdue for a C-section for the 24th of July. The second experience, I got my labor pains on the 23rd at night. My mother took me to hospital. I was in labor. As soon as my mother woke me with me holding my hand, the nurse said, "Hayibo, miyeke. Uzoba nje uba ngoba uzonela. Uzoyihambela, mtetele. Mase uyamlinda emnyango." As I struggled towards one of the nurses, my water broke. But where? Nakog, as if I could control my water, you know. And one of the ladies, I think it was a nurse, she took me, she laid in my bed, wang checker, what I get, we are deliver manje. As she was getting me ready, waiting deliver, and another black daughter came and read my file. What? No, stop. This lady needs to be sterilized. And he went to the other door and came back fast with I think it was 3 or 2 forms. And he said, "Please sign here and get her ready to be sterilized." I was in intense labor pains. I wasn't thinking rationally. I signed those forms. After signing the forms, they took me to the ELO for a C-section. Bang sterilizer, ngaphuma. And kwathi la sengiphuma sekufanele ngiyazisa ama-toes ami. My toes were not moving, which was bad, I think. And they called another white doctor. And that doctor wavula ifile yami. Wayifunda. It was a she. She was so mad. She said she doesn't understand why they sterilized a 19-year-old. It doesn't make sense to her. And after, they took me to the ward. In all of this story, I'm not talking on my behalf. The violations, ukuhlukumezwa kwabantu besifazane. Uma ngithi sterilization, angisho ukuthi kuthina abantu besifazane aba-HIV positive, abamnyama, sivala ngokuboshwa amathumbu. Cha. Mebesivala, basivala ngokuthi basike ama-fallopian tubes, or else they take out our wombs. I-violation engasoze wayi-reverse noma sekuthiwani. And this makes me mad when we try as women to fight for our rights, and they say our cases has prescribed. Kanjani, because i-violation eyenzeka kumina ayikazi prescribe. It's for a lifetime. And one of the experiences now as abantu besifazane, I'm not talking on my behalf, experience ngisho ngathi try noma kanjani kuyina madam. Nakuyibirthday yengane yakho, you celebrate and you reminded because I was violated. Each year you get reminded. Each time you look at the scar, it reminds you. It's very sad for laba abanye futhi abangazange babe nabantwana, because if they see a child, they say, "Wow, I could have hurt a child." And another thing, you woke up, ungena esibhedlela as umuntu wesifazane, uzobeletha umntwana wakho, but uphuma usenyumba. Because someone, oyi-one, uthathe a decision on our behalf as black HIV positive women, which we're not entitled to have children because we're black. I've never heard a case of a white woman who was sterilized. In what we're asking for as women to the EFF, we've been fighting as women for the past 12 years. And the government, the Department of Health, sending us from pillar to post, asking for researchers. And we did the researches with limited funding. But till today, we laid a complaint in the CGE. The CGE launched a report. Till now, they gave the Department of Health 3 months to respond. They haven't. The Department of Health is serious. eyakwenza kuthina, I feel, and I feel for other women, they feel the same way too, ukuthi iyayithatha serious. For them, kwakuyi-section nje yokuthi hawu sokuvala uzoba right. Phara sikaze sibe right. Mentally, no, we're not. Every time I ngikhuluma kanje about this issue, angilali ntambama. It's like ngiliva ngaleso sikhathi. All we asking from the EFF to help us to fight, because we've been fighting to push this issue forward. Some women were with in this issue, to this cause, abasekho emhlabeni abanye. Since saqala years ago, more than 12 years ago, sathola abanye and sisanda ukuthola abanye manje, which means what have been happening 12 years ago isenzeka namanje. The Department of Health ayisinakile. Dr. Metsoledi, he's been health minister. Paragazasho lutho. Mr. Mkhize, I'm from KZN. When I KZN, sakhuluma naye. Wathi ufuna research. Samnika, wenzeni? He was in KZN. Now he's the national. National. Besicela EFF isize to fight. We really need your fight. We must fight to end the medicalized, gender-based violence against HIV-positive women. I thank you.
Sanibonani. Sanibonani. Igama ngusibongile kwi sector ye sex work. Ama sex workers masingakhumbula kahle, ama sex workers omama osisi amadodakazi amele imizi athatha abantwana abayise esikoleni, but kunabantu ababa abusayo njengamaphoyisa. Uma isex work ingaba decriminalized, ngiyacabanga ukuthi amaphoyisa angayeka ukusebenzisa imithetho phezulu kwama sex workers, ngoba fanele bayise abantwana esikoleni bayathola lemfundo wona ama sex worker angayitholanga. Ngimi lana ngimele ama sex workers ukuthi bacela ukuthi isex work EFF ibasize ukuthi isex work ibe decriminalized, ngoba sinane project yabantwana bama sex workers ekufanele ukuthi sikhiphe emaphaketheni thina, sibathengele ukudla, sibathengele umntwana ufika amncane ena 2 days fanele sithenga ama pampers, khiphe ephaketheni uyothengela umntwana we-sex worker. Wena owakho umntwana ekhaya awumfakelile imali ngoba wena ufuna ukusupporta lama sex workers, ngoba nawo awomama fanele sibanikeze uthando, nabantwana babo futhi fanele sibanikeze uthando. But umama uboshiwe use police station akasakwazi ukuzolanda umntwana ngoba uboshiwe yena. And enye into, uma bese police station uthi uzoya wena njenge human rights defender uyobanikeza amaphilisi, amaphoyisa akunikeza enye attitude ungakazi uzuyibona, azokutshela ukuthi lo muntu ufanele vele ukuboshwa ngoba uphula umthetho. Angali baphula umthetho but banawo ama rights. And enye into, amaphoyisa wona semaphoyisa afuna le sex futhi kuma sex worker ukuze babakhiphe. Awukwazi ukumfakela amaphilisi umuntu mangabe umhambisele, fanele adle amaphilisi. Lo muntu use defaultile 3 days ngoba uzokhishwa Monday, mayiboshwe Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday uyaphuma uyojika ecourt nje, badlala ngayo yothi magistrate bakulethelini lana ngoba angiyazi mina le case yakho. Basebenzisa ama bylaws kakhulu, ayikho i-charge abayisebenzisayo nje ukuthi naku sex worker simbambile bekufanele simbophe. So kubhlungu kakhulu, besizocela i-EFF ukuthi isilwise ukuthi sikwazi ukuthi i-sex work ibe decriminalized. Sicele mhlambe nanoma food parcel, cause abasebenzi manje bahleli endlini abakwazi ukusebenza ngoba abatholi nokudla, abatholi imali engenayo njengoba kunale lockdown. So kuningi nje okwenzeka kubona bahlukumezekile, balambile nabantwana babo balambile, basakwazi ukufaka imali eya ekhaya kubantwana babo. Ngiyabonga.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Thank you. Molweni. Nandinguloyiso Wakasaliso, and I'm here to talk about the LGBTQIA struggles. First of all, we cannot claim to be for the people if we do not understand that we do not live single struggle lives, and that our struggles are intersectional. I hear us talking a lot about GBVF, which is gender-based violence and femicide, but I'm very conscious about calling it sexuality and gender-based violence and femicide, because women are not only attacked because they are women, but they are attacked because of the choices of because of who they are sexually and who they are attracted to sexually. We have been fighting the LGBTQIA fight for the longest time. It's not a new struggle, and I cannot believe that in 2020 we must go sit in parliament and vote if people should marry who they are in love with or who they want to be with in 2020. I cannot believe that in 2020 we have to fight for that when it's in our constitution, one that is actually being thrown out the window by this government that we have right now. There are many issues which are faced by the LGBTQIA, and I will be particular with the trans bodies in this country. There are trans bodies in the rural areas who do not have access to information or access to health services. Right now, PrEP was made available for trans bodies, but right now the government has charged the money for PrEP. And there is no PrEP. We talk about HIV prevention, but there is no prevention tools in this country for us to fight HIV. Trans women are trying to transition, but there is no access for them to get to even a hospital or a clinic. When they come in to a clinic and they ask for help, they are first of all discriminated against because of who they are. They are asked, are you a man or a boy? And we have people who are claiming to be for us in those leadership positions in this government, who will say that I am a feminist, I am for women, I am for LGBTQIA, but behind or in these small rooms, they are able to say to trans women, but oksalayo uyindoda. And we need to educate ourselves consciously about LGBTQIA. We need to advocate for LGBTQIA consciously and intentionally. Don't just tick boxes with their lives. Our lives are not for relevance, Betunana. The fact that we have to fight in this country to exist, to breathe, to be free, there's nothing tick boxing about that. There's nothing relevant about that we have to wake up every morning and figure out, mang pumalana, and I have to go out there, who's going to jump on me because I did not greet them back? We have a 14-year-old girl who killed a gay guy in South Africa. And as she stabbed this talented, gifted boy, she kept on screaming, Morphe. What are parents teaching their children? You can never teach a 14-year-old to hate umuntu for who they are like that. The EFF has a role to play in educating not only children but parents. The new learning is unlearning. And that is your mandate, to make sure that people start unlearning and accepting people for who they are. Don't say that I can unrape you and you will become a woman. No, it is not up to you to do that. And when we have those alphabets, LGBTQIA, those are not just there for fun. For me, as far as I'm concerned, the L, the G, the B, the Q, and so forth, those are revolutionary. Because when I say that I am bisexual, it means that I know who I am. And this is who I am. And there are people who are like me out there. There is a whole army of bisexuals. And that is something in a world that is actually fighting against who you are. The new learning is unlearning. Let there be services in this country for trans women and trans men, from the rural areas to the suburbs. And please, the bail issue, the no bail. Women are raped because they are lesbian. Men are raped because they are gay. Patriarchy is so toxic that it is even violent to its own beneficiaries who are men. Not only gay guys get raped, but a man gets hijacked with his wife, and men will rape both the man and the wife. And the man is straight. That is what we are fighting against the system. And it's not only women who are fighting against it, but it is also men's role to fight against that system because it does not benefit you. Thank you so much.
Molweni nonke, elami igama ngiyolanda Tyanki. I'm a bit nervous standing in front of you today, but I'm really honored to be here among all of you beautiful black women, most importantly. I think I'll just take off this mask. So this day is a day that holds a lot of good sentiments around it, but for me, it also holds very suffocating connotations about the state of womanhood in this present political dispensation that we find ourselves in. Over the years, and with the older I've become, it's been quite a journey of navigating the society that is constantly evolving at a rapid pace, and where patriarchy finds means to reinvent itself. As a black woman in South Africa, confronted with all the realizations of what it means to be in this country, with each day presenting itself with new challenges that I must overcome as a woman just to feel alive, just to be alive, has been an extreme sport that I was never ready for. I'm 23 years old, I'm unemployed, and attempting self-employment. I currently single-handedly run my own NPO, non-for-profit organization called Archive Amabali Wethu, which essentially is focused on creating platforms of engagement and expression on issues concerning gender-based violence and broader social injustice in South Africa. I want to do this by facilitating processes that archive and document our plight as women living in this country, as black African women, as queer people, meaning the broader LGBTQI community, as gender non-conforming people, as socially and economically disadvantaged people who continue to feel the brunt of exclusion and the violation of our human and constitutional rights. I'm one of many women who have been failed by our institutions of governance, by our institutions of justice, and further failed by the very people who are responsible at the highest level of education for our safety on our university campuses. In 2016, a movement called #RU Reference List broke out at Rhodes University, aimed at addressing what we believed and experienced to be a perpetual rape culture crisis. This movement, led by women and queer students, called for systemic changes to be implemented as a response and further preventative measure to the sexual violence and gender-based violence that we were experiencing and navigating through as students on campus. Something so pervasive and also so subtle that it had become part of the norm of being a student to maneuver an institution knowing that the mechanisms that they had in place did not protect me as a woman, and more often than not failed the victims and survivors of abuse than they did protect and attain justice for us. That the environment we spent most of our times when our parents sent us to school as students was a potential threat to the livelihood and well-being of just being a woman on campus. Rhodes University, like many of our tertiary institutions across this country, is a microcosm of the country's state. Being a student at Rhodes University felt like a direct confrontation of what it is like experiencing life now on the outside as an adult, outside of a tight-knit community like a university or a college, navigating life in this big world engulfed by violence directed at our bodies. This is where I experienced the magnitude of institutional power, institutional culture, which right at the core was centered and built on patriarchal and misogynistic values that generally put the interests of men, of monopoly, and capital ahead of everyone else and surrounding environments. I was raped in my first 5 months as a student in 2015 at Rhodes, so that also speaks to the pervasiveness of this culture. That movement, the Ari references protests, and spoke, which called the rapists by name, where we demanded them to be arrested and for swift action to be taken by the university in ensuring that our campus was safe and, most importantly, free from violence, ultimately saw not only how men strengthened their allyship for each other, but how they would fight tooth and nail to protect their most treasured valuables, which include property, their reputation, as well as the socio-political and economic currency attached to it all. We saw this also through the response that the state and the universities together gave to the Fees Must Fall movement. The violence against our bodies was ignored and in fact further perpetuated by the system upholding how things are done. These systems tell us how to be a woman, what we must endure, and what we can and when we can say no. In 2017, I was then excluded from Rhodes University. I was seen as an instigator, as a leader of these protests, and given a lifetime exclusion from tertiary education, and subsequently had my degree taken away from me for being involved in those rape culture protests. Those protests not only took the nation by a storm, but they put microscopic attention to what was already an ongoing fight for the realization of our rights as women in South Africa, for our being and the amplification of our voices on the issues that concern us the most. I stand here today as an example of what it looks like being on the receiving end of some of the consequences that come with holding systemic violence accountable, of demanding the right to safety and freedom as a woman, and to not have any of my experiences as a woman, and not have my experiences as a woman going through this country disregarded solely because I'm a woman. We see more of this through the gender wage gap, where even in South Africa right now, men earn over 28% more than women, where in spaces of leadership and governance, women have to get naked in order to just be considered for a position at the table, where even when you are at the table with the men who have historically ensured our exclusion as women, we still have to speak at the top of our voices just to be heard. Where right now, during the COVID-19 and the lockdown, we are the ones bearing the brunt of economic exclusion. We are the ones who are left heading many of these fatherless households and will have to scrape even 10 times deeper just to get by. I want us to remember that many of the challenges we go through as Black women, as young Black women, are not by chance, and that they are carefully designed in ensuring that we remain at the bottom of this ecosystem. It cannot be that in 2020 we are fighting for the recognition of our human rights. It cannot be that in 2020 we still have to convince the courts in ensuring that our perpetrators are kept far away from us and that we deserve to be free from violence and life-threatening situations. It cannot be that in this year in South Africa, majority of the country's population, which is women, are yet the ones who are most neglected. We are not Uhuru, not until we have the land and economic power in our hands. And I want us to be reminded that we must continue to disrupt the patriarchy and hold the violence accountable in all the spaces we occupy. I think, if anything, in the words of our Miss Universe, Zozibini Tunzi, which have stuck with me this entire year, that we continue to be reminded to take up as much space as possible and as much space that we deserve. Let us continue to fight and raise our voices and to stand up against toxic masculinity in the honor of the women who have died at the hands of this violence, in honor of ourselves who have survived and continue to survive through it all, and for the generations of women to come after us, for them not to go through a perpetual state of insecurity, powerlessness, and all-round abuse. Thank you.
Amandla, 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 Amandla. Sing that song again. And we always all join in. Amandla webafazi, bafazi masimanyane. Amandla webafazi, bafazi masimanyane. Udala sisebenzi, bafazi masimanyane. Kudala sisebenzela madoda, bafazi masimanyane. Amandla webafazi, bafazi masimanyane. Amandla webafazi, bafazi masimanyane. Kudala sisebenzela madoda, fanele masimanyane. Kudala sisebenzela madoda, bafazi masimanyane. Amandla webafazi, bafazi masimanyane. Amandla webafazi, bafazi masimanyane. Kudala sisebenzela madoda, bafazi masimanyane. Kudala sisebenzela madoda, bafazi masimanyane. Kungaba kubuhlungu kodwa ingoma iyanceda. Iyakukhulula okwakuva kabuhlungu. Siyabulela maqobokazana. Sivile kodwa upresident wethu uzaniphendula. Sifike kuvuthondaba apho sizawuthathwa ngumongameli asibonise umkhombandlela kusuka apho. Ndinento endifuna ukuyidlulisa. Ukuba kudala sikhona, sineminyaka eseyimininzi abanye bethu. Kudala sibukela ii-leaders zithatha izihlalo. Kudala sibukela ii-political parties zithatha izihlalo. Kodwa ndima kule ndawo ndingenaxhala. Ndima kule ndawo ndinelunda. Because ndikhokhelwe ngumongameli omhloniphayo umuntu ongumama. Ndikhokhelwe ngumongameli oyaziyo into yokuba umfazi akaxelelwe kude le. Uthatha isitulo ahlala apha etafuleni naye baxoxe bobabini. Kunqabile ukuyibona into enjalo. Abantu abaninzi bahlala bebuza, nihlalelana njani noJulius? Ndithi I so wish ungasifumana ithuba uhlale naye, akayilento ucinga uyayazi. Lo mbuzo uhlala uba khona amaxesha amaninzi ebantwini abafuna uncedo, kodwa banolwazi oluncinci ngaye. Ndiyathandaza, ndinqula babanga abaphantsi bangamgcina. Ngesingenawo la mandla nale platform today, babe kungengayi. ngesingenayo lamandla wokuba sibe khona eParlamente singabafazi abancinci. Sikhulele kwi-political party ethatha amaxhego namaxhegwazana engamaziyo umuntu omtsha. Kodwa siyayazi into okokuba i-EFF imamela omdala, imamela omncinci. Inika uthuba omdala, inika uthuba omncinci. Ayideleli ibala, ayideleli gender. Kodwa okuphambili kwi-EFF akho nto yenziwa indoda umfazi angenawuyenza. Akho nto yendoda umfazi anganakwazi ukuyenza. Ngalo mazwi Mongameli, ngizama ukuthi lunga uzophendula the nation. Here are the representatives from different sectors. The EFF has been inundated with calls, visits, day in, day out, by people abahlukumezekileyo. Namhlanje, Mongameli, babeka imithwalo yabo phezu kwamagxa wakho. Sincede usiphendulele. Ndiyazi lusuku lomama, kodwa ndiyazi xa umphefumlo udandathekile, Komisa Dr. Mbuyiseni, xa umphefumlo udandathekile, ordinarily namhlanje ubibingeyo COVID, I know Mongameli wethu was going to pamper us. But because there is this COVID situation, we are not going to get pampering. We must social distance at all costs. But that pampering must come through you, Dr. Mbuyiseni. Can you take the president to the podium? That will be the pampering at least, that will soothe our souls. Dr. Mbuyiseni, please help us.
Okay. Thank you very much. Amandla. Amandla. Watinta abafazi. Long live the fighting spirit of Winnie Mandela, long live. Long live the fighting spirit of Zinzi Mandela, long live. Amandla. Thank you very much, National Chair, the Deputy President, the SG, TSG and the TG, members of the War Council, members of the Central Command Team, the former National Chair, the former SG and the former TG. I'm told you are also here. And the former DSG. So it is very difficult to see who's here and who's not here because you are wearing masks. So when they said Mbuyiseni must sing, I didn't recognize it was him. I thought it was another woman. Until they said, no, Mbuyiseni must sing. Oh, Mbuyiseni is also here. We salute our comrades in the continent and in the diaspora. We salute all the progressive women of our country and the continent and the diaspora. Makulu, we have visited you today to humble ourselves, to salute you and all the defiant and uncompromising women of your time. We came with your daughters and granddaughters here.
in the presence of your defiant daughter Zinzi, we are here in front of your gentle granddaughter Zenani to seek your spiritual wisdom on how to address the war that is waged against the women of our country. We are here, Makulu, to seek your counsel and cry on your shoulders like we did before when we were faced with difficult times. Today, Comrade Winnie, we are here to tell you that the brutality which women suffered in the hands of the nonsensical and murderous regime is now continuing under the so-called democratic government of the ANC in South Africa. Your children are here, Makulu, because they've always wanted to visit your resting place and that of your beautiful daughter, Zinzi. They wanted to visit your resting place because you remain their inspiration. They want to see where you are resting so that they can confidently say that they are following in your footsteps. We know that you remain the mother of our nation because there is no one like you. When I got a call from your daughter Zenani, who said to me that the EFF should proceed with its plans to rename or to name their building after you, including the naming of the school after you, when she gave us her blessings as your surviving child, she also said to me that during my grandmother's funeral, the women of the EFF had asked her to visit your grave, and she thinks it is the right time for the women of the EFF to visit your grave. And that is why we are here, Mama, because your family continues to associate with the EFF and continues to support the EFF and your legacy. They know that there is no legacy of Winnie Mandela without the EFF. So this morning, your daughter Zenani came to make you aware that your grandchildren and your children will be here to come and salute you and to wish us well. We all knew that indeed we have the blessings of the family. It was on this day, 56 years ago, when 20,000 brave women of our country marched to Pretoria to fight against nonsensical laws which were demanding them to carry passes. They said they cannot be made subhumans in their own country. It was not the first generation. It was Charlotte Maxeke's generation that also defied in 1919 the carrying of passes because they said this was the land of their forefathers. I mentioned this to demonstrate that women have always fought against anything that is nonsensical. And it is this generation of Lillian Ngoyi, Mama Winnie, and Charlotte Maxeke, and many others who continue to inspire the younger generation. It is these women that we have come to celebrate today, who have made you to be so strong and powerful today, because you come from the brave women of Africa. We are here today because the young women of our country are saying to you, Makulu, they will never abandon the struggle for as long as women are still oppressed. Women are still oppressed because majority of highly funded non-governmental organizations are not led by women. Women are still oppressed because higher positions in business and in government are still occupied by men to the exclusion of women, even when these women do qualify. Women are still persecuted wherever they go on the basis of their gender. It is women who have to fear being raped every day. It is women who have to fear sexual harassment in workplaces, at churches, and even in their own homes. Despite the foundation that the 1956 generation has laid, women in general and Black and African women in particular are struggling for recognition in the economic structure. If you go to Johannesburg Stock Exchange, there are no women, except that the CEO is a female. If you go to Eskom, a woman is being released, particularly a Black African woman, and replaced by a male. Jamnandas replaced an African woman with a white woman. It is men who decide which woman takes which position. When you deal with issues of CEOs in South Africa, majority of CEOs are males. Whereas in state-owned companies, if you go to SAA, if you go to Eskom, if you go to Dinel, and majority of all these state-owned enterprises, it is males. But what is even worse is that these companies are being transferred back into the hands of white males. So it is not just males, it is white males who are leading in these strategic companies of our country. It is happening because the government of Ramaphosa hates Black people and worse, hates Black African females. I think Jamnandas, if it was his own will, all African females should not occupy any position of power. Because everywhere he finds a female West African, he destroys them. So we need to fight and ensure that our own companies are not transferred back into the hands of white males. Worse, Makulu, is the gender wage gap. Men are earning more than females. And even when they do the same job, even when they qualify, both of them, whereas when they start a job, women will always be started at a lower wage, whereas men will be given an unfair advantage. Of course, education helps to close the gap, but that education is not enough because the same people who are educated, if it's a male and a male will be given a preference. Where a female succeeds, her salary will be less than that of a classmate. Comrades, it is worse with women who only have matric. They earn way less than men who have matric. It is worse with women who are not educated at all, because men who are not educated at all have more chances of getting a job in some construction company or security or warehousing or transport. Because we all know the taxi drivers, the bus drivers, and all those type, majority of them are males. And if they are not educated, they will get a preference over an uneducated woman. In the legal fraternity, you must just forget. The senior councils, you have very few women, whereas very few Africans, both male and females. And if you have the attorneys, the females that are there, they are less than the males, and worse, the African females who are attorneys are way less than the white female attorneys. To show that this government doesn't like women, just recently, They have established a team of advocates assembled by the NPA to closely work with Zondo Commission to prosecute state capture crimes. There was not a single senior black woman advocate in that team, which was recently established by a government that says it prefers women. It has got Ministry of Women. When a government establishes such a committee without a senior woman, where is the Department of Women to intervene and say not in our name? Where is the Department of Women to intervene when tenders of PPEs are given to males only? Remember, PPEs are very essential services, and people who know how to provide essential services are women. But where money exchanges hands in the essential services, the good, caring people who know how to provide essential services are excluded. The bidding committees, the adjudicating committees, in the departments that are led by women, do not have women. If they are women, they are one or two to the majority of bullying males who will not listen to a soft-speaking woman. The only way she could be listened, the only way they can listen to her, if she shouts on top of her voice, because they just undermine her, firstly because it's a woman. In all the land questions that are resolved and given back to communities, if you look at those committees in the villages or where land claims took place, there are no women. It is only males who claim to know the correct history of the family and who is buried where, and claim the land. After claiming the land, successfully rent it back to the white male. And when the monies exchange hands, women are not in those committees to influence direction of how those resources should be handled. It cannot be a successful land claim if it's not resolving the landless question amongst women. We must fight that women must own farms. We must fight that women must lead in agricultural sector. Because today, the face of agriculture, the face of farms is white males in khaki uniforms. So when a person says ownership of farms, the first picture that comes into your mind is some arrogant white male. When people talk about agriculture, it's an arrogant white male. When they say farmers are being killed, the face of farmers are being killed is a white Afrikaner male. We must change that in our lifetime. So any land question that gets resolved, or any land that gets to be nationalized and transferred into the hands of the people, and after that program, we still find that majority of the land is not in the hands of females, then we should know the land question has failed. A successful land question will make sure that each woman in South Africa owns a minimum of a hectare. From there, we can talk of a successful program of land question. Minimum hectare, not less than a hectare. Because anything less than a hectare, comrades, is not land. It's a piece of land. So you cannot go around National Chair Dalimpov saying, I've got land when you don't have a hectare. So anyone who goes around saying, I've got a land and you don't have a hectare, you are a waste of time yourself. Because you are undermining our struggle for land. You go around lying that you've got land. You don't have land, you have a piece of land. A land starts with hectare, minimum hectare going forward. And that's what our women should own. We want our women to be on top of tractors. We want them to give orders. We want them to give direction of how we can produce food and feed our own people. Because you are feeders yourself as mothers. We want you to lead the establishment of food banks. We want you to lead the program to feed the African continent because it's starving. It needs you at the helm of leadership to lead us into feeding the African continent. You require nobody's permission to do that. So when you say you want to occupy space, you cannot occupy space the way you were singing earlier on. Because occupation of space means authority. You must demonstrate you are in charge. Because the day you demonstrate doubt, no one is going to take you serious. You occupy the space, you require nobody's approval. If you are making mistakes, you learn from those mistakes and go forward because you are denied opportunities to learn. You are going to learn on the job. And learning on the job means you are going to commit a lot of mistakes. So when the EFF says we want the land, we want the economy, we want the banks, we want all strategic sectors of the economy to be owned and controlled by our people, we mean you, the women of South Africa. Because anyway, you are the majority in this country. And therefore, anything that is the opposite will be undemocratic. I agree with everything that the national chairperson said about how we are going to deal with issues of crime. The input on how we need to strengthen legislation is very important. And what is even more painful is that the legal fraternity will have to start engaging on those matters. Why should the first point of engagement be bail and not the victim? Because once it becomes the first hearing of this matter, the first thing we hear is bail, and it means the first thing is the perpetrator. But we are not here for the perpetrator. We are here to seek justice for the victim. But the first thing we hear is where the perpetrator sleeps, where the perpetrator wakes up, how many children does the perpetrator have, the qualifications of the perpetrator. Dalimpofu will polish them and say them nicely. We must take 2 days hearing about this rapist and not hearing about the person who got victimized by the perpetrator. And it is going to take 9 months about the perpetrator. It will all be about the perpetrator. The bail, then the bail gets postponed, then the bail again, then it gets postponed, then from there it gets bail, then we come back. Then we're not ready, and then the perpetrator is not ready. After 12 months, only will we see and hear. 12 months. You even forgot the facts and the small details of what happened, and then at the end, you are labeled a liar. Because the buying of time is to make sure that you forget the facts, but also the emotions are gone. Even yourself will know, you know what? If you we must just leave this thing. When you go, you are no longer in that strong position where you are going to be very persuasive to the judge. Because the matters, if they are dealt with when they are still hot, you are able to bring your all into the case. But they buy time so that you lose interest. And even when you finally go into the box, you just deal with it as by the way. You know, let's just deal with this thing and finish it because I've been waiting for this day and it's not coming. So the question we ought to ask is, why do we start with the perpetrator and not the victim? Because justice should be about justice for the victim. It cannot be justice for the perpetrators. Innocent until proven otherwise, fine, but what about this person who has been violated? Pregnant women get stabbed and then get hanged on a tree. The day we are going to hear the facts of that case, we'll be pulling each other to seek clarity and remind of which one is this one, by the way. But that time, if after taking her from the tree and burying her and now starting to look into the facts of a case, all of us will still be emotionally involved, will even help the lawyers with the facts and arguments, because we were still emotionally there. We search so deep to find the best argument to take these people to jail so they can rot in jail. By the time it comes, we've all lost interest. We are now dealing with a different new case, which is also going to be heard after 2 years. So we need the legislation with teeth. We need a biting legislation, not a legislation that buys time. I'm a politician. I will tell you how politicians operate. Commissions of inquiry, like courts and all of that, when politicians don't want to do something, they establish a commission of inquiry. Then it drags and drags and drags. By the time it releases the results of state capture, we have a new problem. It's Ramaphosa. The problem again was Zuma that time. Now they took us forever and forever. Now we are no longer interested in Zuma. When they release a state capture, okay, fine, put there. This, yes, a man. The problem is this one now. That's what they do. They buy time with long processes to get you to forget, and from there, they run away with murder, and they never get to be held accountable. So, I'm happy that the women of the EFF and the EFF are leading the charge in terms of retraining of judges and magistrates and retraining of police and introducing counseling at police stations and introducing offices that will guarantee confidentiality to the victims. And those offices must be led by the most patient person. You ought to be very patient. I had a situation in my family now where my nephew got into trouble and she wouldn't talk. All you have to do is to ask her, and if she refuses to speak, you keep quiet and sit there, allow her time to think about it, and from there she will slowly, bit by bit, start narrating a story of what really transpired. We need that type of patience at police stations. Not when you walk into a police station with a child and the child refuses to speak, police bar because the victim is not talking here. So when I'm problem. She's not talking and they're busy. Police station. Next. That's how the perpetrator survives. If we have a counseling office, caring office, take through the child, talk to the child, leave her there to calm down, and when she's ready, she will talk. If she's not ready today, we'll be referred back home and be encouraged to come back tomorrow. And there must be a follow-up, someone to follow up. Can I come? Are you at home? Because we need to pursue this matter. Rape and abuse of women and children should be crimes against the state. So much that even when the victim withdraws the case, the state must proceed with the case against the perpetrator. Because families intervene, money exchange hands, and families say, we cannot embarrass our uncle like that. We cannot embarrass the breadwinner. You know you are what you are because of this uncle. You cannot report this case. Anyone who suspects that there was rape in that house, who suspects there was woman abuse in that house, should be allowed to go and lay a complaint, even when you are not a victim yourself. Ore apa robale. Bosheo mosadi wa ka mo wa welela the whole night. Kitlo reporter tabeu, and police must take that case and put the best investigating officers until they find evidence and arrest this person, whether the wife opened the case or not. If you know of an abuse, if you know of violence against women, if you know of violation against children and grandchildren, you must be allowed to open a case, because those types of cases must be crimes against the state. The same way EFF always goes to police station. The DP and the TG went to open a case against the ESCOM COO. Even when the COO didn't steal from them personally, but because you stole from our people and you stole from the state, it is my responsibility. We must all be charged with that responsibility to report these people who are committing crimes against our women. We have heard you, all the women who have spoken here. I hope the former SG was taking the notes and is going to make follow-ups as a lawyer, because I've seen a lot of work that he's doing now. He's going after every government institution that has violated the rights of individuals, and he sues the state against those people. One of the cases he did was an old man who was killed in a hospital because a mentally disturbed person was let free, and that person went into another ward, stabbed the other patients, and stabbed the old man and killed that old man. The SG went against the Department of Health, and when he gave them the letter of demand, the department immediately said, we don't even want to argue. We know this is a case of negligence, and they paid immediately. When they paid, the former SG said to the family of the old man, we don't want anything. This is for you, it's for the family, because we are lawyers for justice. So sterilization against our women who have not consented, or even when they did under questionable condition like the one which was described here, we need to follow that case up as an individual case, and many others that the organization is dealing with, to punish this reckless state that undermine our women. Who said HIV positive women can't have kids? They've got kids now, and they continue to make very beautiful kids who are healthy, who some of them are even much older now, providing services to the state. So when you sterilize women against their consent, you are taking away potential from the state. We need to go after these doctors. We need the name of that white doctor. We need the names of all of them, so that we go after their practices. They must withdraw their licenses. They are not qualified to be doctors. Doctors and nurses are not murderers. They must save life. They must do everything in their power to encourage bringing life and saving life, not to take away life and prevent life. Any woman who wants to sterilize, it's her choice. she must not be denied that opportunity. But anyone who wants to make himself a mini God by deciding who's going to have a child, who's not going to have a child, then we must go after those people. The same way with those who want to do sex work. It is their call. These women have raised an important question which no one has responded to. Why are they criminalized and the buyer is not criminalized? I think you will like that case, SG, of sex work. I think you'll have to deal with it properly and bring all types of experiences into this matter so we can see how we can save the day. So, why is the buyer not arrested? You arrest the sex workers because they are women, and you can easily undermine women like that. Men who are the buyers, because they are men, you can't play with them. DP, it's a matter of legislature. It's not a complicated matter. It's a matter where we need to make a private bill, members' bill in Parliament. And the best way to do it, it can be done before the end of this month, the Women's Month, and say, we are putting here a private members' bill to decriminalize sex work. And we're not fighting with any religious person or anyone. Sex work, no one is forced to do that. Sex buyer, no one is forced to do that. So let people exercise their own right of choosing what they want to do with their lives. They've made a call here at TG. They said, because the streets are closed and the economy is closed, the sex workers do not have food. So in the immediate, perhaps we should buy the food parcels and give to the sex workers until the economy opens and we're able to go back and be able to provide for ourselves. So we have all the resources in Parliament to make proposals on legislation. In most cases, when we make proposal for legislation, these criminals who steal everything, including money of SMSs for COVID, they steal our proposals in Parliament. The legislation on state-owned bank, we put it to Parliament, they hijacked it. And after hijacking it, they derail the whole thing so that they make it impossible. I tell you now, the ANC Women's League has been in existence for donkey years, but it has never made a proposal in Parliament through private members' bill or through their majority in Parliament to decriminalize sex work. It's not about the legislation. We've got the power. We've got everything what it takes to make legislation. All it takes is a political will. In the absence of the political will, we can talk sex work, decriminalization for the rest of our life. Nothing will happen. So let us not be like all these magogos and madalas who are there in Parliament. We need to be proactive and propose legislation that is progressive and that is going to save our people. Comrades, we are here at Mama's grave to talk about the rights of our women, and she was the champion of that. But yet here next door in Zimbabwe, the rights of the people of Zimbabwe are being violated. Where's the rights of women? They abduct children from the streets, particularly girl children, rape them and kill them in the bush. The police and the soldiers have become law unto themselves. Mnangagwa has become a pig and is eating his own children in Zimbabwe. Mnangagwa is not different to Ramaphosa. When they came in, a lot of us had thought something positive will happen. Things have become extremely worse. We need Zimbabwe back. We need Zimbabwe back into the hands of the women of Zimbabwe and the children of Zimbabwe. Zimbabweans are not cowards. Zimbabweans have fought before. Why is the youth of Zimbabwe fighting through hashtag? Why is the youth of Zimbabwe fighting from South Africa and London? Why are they not occupying the borders of Zimbabwe there in Musina? Who will support them and say no car goes into Zimbabwe, no car comes out of Zimbabwe until the rights of our people are restored in Zimbabwe? Why is the youth of Zimbabwe not rising in Zimbabwe and face death because they are already dead? To live with a mother who can be raped at any time by the state with no consequences. To live with a sister who can be raped at any time with no consequences. Our own comrades should stop the hashtag revolution and engage in the real revolution. They supported us during our struggle. We must support them now. And the most practical thing for South Africa to do, if Cyril Ramaphosa respects the human rights, as he claims to have drafted this constitution that they say is the best constitution in the world, he must withdraw the South African embassy from Zimbabwe and chase away the Zimbabwean embassy from South Africa until the rights of Zimbabweans are restored. It's the most less violent and not interfering with anything. But we cannot have presence in a country where human rights are violated. So we are the people of human rights. You have a problem with gays. You've got a problem with lesbians. In the EFF, you are not welcomed. Those comrades in the NCOP who voted against that bill of same marriage bill, civil union bill, the EFF people voted against it. We have instructed them to go and choose an NGO or any other organization that deals with those issues of lesbians and gays and all of that, and donate their monthly salary into those organizations, because what they did was extremely embarrassing and an EFF. But also it shows you that they do not know the EFF. Because the founding manifesto of the EFF explains and deals with those issues clearly, and they will not cause any confusion. Okay, if you have not read the founding manifesto, the manifesto that took you to parliament now in 2019 deals with those questions very clearly. So you don't even know the document which took you to parliament, and you want to get a salary from the same document. Now, all of those comrades are going to donate their money to this organization, to organizations as we have mentioned. And if they dare repeat that mistake, they will be opening doors for themselves to leave this organization, because here we do not discriminate. We are for everyone, and worse, we are for those who are weak, who are rejected, who are isolated and discriminated unfairly. Those are the people of the EFF. That's why Zimbabwe will always be our friend. That's why Palestine will always be our friend. Children are killed by Israel. Women are being violated. Israel wants to continue to extend its territory illegally and undermine the Palestinians. We are with the people of Palestine, because they are the rejected, they are the undermined, they are the isolated. We are with the female doctors of Cuba, who are everywhere in the world, providing assistance to needy countries, including countries that have made sanctions against them. Italy passed sanctions against Cuba. But when they were dying, Cuba didn't say you pass sanctions against us, because they are informed by socialist solidarity. They knew that life matters more than politics. And they send their doctors to a country that has sanctioned them. And they are helping in Italy. They are helping here in South Africa. We must be inspired by those female doctors of Cuba, because we are nothing without international solidarity. We want the women of Western Sahara to own their land, to work in their land, and we want them to have their own freedom so that they can provide and feed their children in favorable conditions, because Morocco should stop the occupation of Western Sahara. So, for as long as the women of Western Sahara are oppressed, then there is no one who can enjoy freedom anywhere in the world. There is no freedom if there is a particular corner of the world which is suffering an oppression. So we must always think of those women of Western Sahara. Comrades, we are here to say to the old lady and her daughter that the struggle continues. We are here to pick up the spear and continue the good fight they've been fighting. We are here to say to them that the organization that represents those who are evicted in Cape Town and in East London and here in Johannesburg is here to stay. We are here to say to Mama, the children who were expelled from school in Rhodes because they fought a rape culture are now going to be represented legally, and they must get their degrees back, and their ban must be unbanned, and they must continue to go to school. Women of the EFF, we are not better men in the EFF. We are like all of them. Continue to uneducate us of our bad manners. Continue to teach us who are here to follow you. When we say our women, we don't necessarily want to refer to you as our objects. We are trying to show that we care, we are together in this thing. We use it the same way we refer to our fathers and mothers, our own. So we are trash like them. We are not going to stand here and want to pretend we are different. The only difference between us and them is that we are prepared to unlearn the bad manners we're taught. And we are prepared to teach our children to become better people. Because that's what we need to do. It will take a generation for us to unlearn all these things, but to teach the young ones to be better people. My son goes to a boys' school. And when they respond, when they call their names, they must respond like in a military arrangement. And when they respond in a soft voice, they say to them, "Why do you respond like a girl?" And I said to him, I'm going to write a letter to that principal and tell him he's teaching you nonsense. How do girls respond? Because you respond the way you want to respond. So you can't say, why do you respond like a girl? He's teaching you already that there is a difference between boys and girl. There shouldn't be a difference. They should be human beings, not boy or a girl, not white or black. We want to live in a country and the world where we see each other through the eyes of a human being, not through racist eyes, not through sexist eyes. So we came here today as men in the EFF to come and join you and support you. Because like us so we are one thing. Something happened, we don't know what happened. So if you want to use us anyhow you want to use us. So we are here for you. We are under your instructions. So please, leadership is not about being a man or a woman. Leadership is brains. We follow the best brains. And when the chairperson was speaking here, I was very happy that, you know, we are led and we are led properly in the EFF. And we can rest and sleep someday knowing that our leaders will take this organization to a different level. So Makulu, we are going to leave now, but please be informed that the airport is still not named after you. Even when transport department is led by your son Mbalula, Mbalula that you fought so much for him, Mbalula that you told Zuma why he removed him, and you told Cyril to put him back into cabinet because he has potential. When your son Mbalula was appointed a minister, I was very happy because I thought the airport was going to be named after you in less than 3 months. But Mbalula, like them, he has still not named the airport after you. When it was blazed in Zimande, I knew that he had no potential to do a right thing. He has never done a right thing. His face tells you, this man will never do anything right. So we knew he had no potential blade to do the right thing. I trusted Mbalula to do the right thing. I still hope that Mbalula will do the right thing. I thought your son, Ace Makashule, who slept in your house and ate your food like Mbalula, will do the right thing and name the airport after you. Till today, they have not done the right thing. They hated you when you were alive. They still hate you in death. It doesn't matter what they say. It is their actions that speak a lot. Every time something happens to you, Makulu, they say they are going to finish the Brantford Museum. Till today, there is no museum. Now your daughter who stayed with you in that house in Brantford is no more. Who's going to tell the real story of what transpired in that house? We are going to be subjected to all types of distortion because the real people who stayed in that house, both of them are laying here today. The ANC uses your name to steal money of the people because they say they are going to do a museum and name it after you, but there is no museum. They hated you, not because you are Winnie Mandela. They hated women. The same women who are leading in government who sold you out, Makulu, they are still selling out women today. We were told by Cyril Ramaphosa that his cabinet is 50% women. So what? What does it translate to in practice? 50%, so what? They are stealing the money of COVID-19 like nothing. Like Mama Kaula said, baya thuma ngale, bathuma omunye ngale, baya tshontsha. Thuma mina in action. Baya thumana to steal the money of the people. They are no longer even hiding, Mama. They are stealing openly with their wives. They are tired of stealing with friends and distant relatives. Now it's wives and kids. And they've now accepted that all of them have stolen. Magashule says, oh, no one can claim to have not done work with government. He's effectively saying, we have all stolen. So they've accepted that they've stolen. People are dying. COVID-19 is finishing our nurses, and now it's killing even doctors. The front line people are dying in their numbers. Why? There are no PPEs. There's no protection. There are no ventilators. There are no oxygen machines. Because the government of the day which you fought for has turned against your own people. So we came here to report to you that things are getting worse. Ramaphosa came to your house when he was campaigning, trying to provoke your name and using your image to gain votes so that he can steal. He's stealing in your name, Comrade Winnie. They are collapsing this government. The youth are unemployed. There are no jobs. Majority of the unemployed youth is young women. They now depend on men for support, and this has led to the abuse of these young women. People are dying of hunger. We are at a point where the state is going to become another failed African state. We are there now. Under Cyril Ramaphosa, under the ANC of Ace Magashule, people who do not know what is wrong and right. They are stealing even the SASSA money. The 350 of the unemployed, the poorest of the poor, is being stolen by those who can afford, yet they still steal from the poor masses of our people. The food parcels have got eyes and they are written names of people. If you are not a relative of a councillor or you do not know the municipal manager, for the past 4 months, there are families which have never received a food parcel. They do that, Mama, in your name and the name of the organization you fought so hard for. So we're here to report that the EFF will not allow them to collapse this country. We are here and we are ready to take over and govern our people in a better way and guided by the female leadership of our country and our own organization. We are not here as crybabies. We are here because we came to pause and re-energize. From here, we are going to double our efforts to fight corruption, to expose corruption, and to declare those who steal from our people as enemies of the revolution. Anyone who steals from the poor, anyone who kills the poor, anyone who rapes women, anyone who kills women is the enemy of the revolution and will never find friendship in the EFF. That's what should characterize the leadership of the EFF. Fighters, there is nothing left in South Africa except the EFF. And therefore, the leaders of the EFF must behave in a manner that will not compromise this only remaining alternative of the people of South Africa. Because if the leadership of the EFF behaves in a manner that tarnishes the image and destroys the only hope that is remaining, you are destroying the hopes of the hopeless masses of our people. Lying here, it's a woman who died knowing that the EFF will pick up the spear and continue the fight. Be guided by this uncompromising spirit of this real fighter here. The most fearless, the most uncompromising, the one who was not scared of death. So we brought you here to know that here lies a giant. And stop worshipping and role modeling thugs and criminals who are stealing from our people. Are you looking for a role model? Are you looking for a revival? Are you looking for reawakening your fighting spirit? Here lies the most powerful woman the world has ever produced. Thank you very much.
President. Siyabulela President. Sivile, TG uvile. First National Chair ne First SG bavile. Ngoku sizawubiza uTG azosenzela amazombulelo. Vote of thanks, TG. And immediately after UTG is going to be the DSG, who's going to take us through the wreath laying. Will be presented with flowers that we're going to put here. So the DSG is going to lead that process immediately after the TG. And after that, we will disperse. There is a message that will get into your phones. Just look at your phones. TG, the floor is yours.
Mandla! Mandla! Long live the undying spirit of Mama Winnie Mandela, long live. Long live the undying spirit of Mama Zinzi Mandela, long live. Forward with Winnie Mandela Airport, forward. Thank you very much, National Chair, Mbokoto, Commissar Veronica Mente. You look very beautiful today. And so is all the women that are here today. My task is very easy. It's just to thank everyone, but allow me to start by thanking the family of Mama Winnie, in particular Mama Zanani Mandela, who allowed us to come and gather here at the resting place of Mama Winnie. Mama Zanani, we thank you very much. Commander-in-Chief and President of the EFF, Julius Malema, we thank you, President, for your persistent leadership. It is reassuring to have men like yourselves who continue to fight for women liberation in our country. There's very few of you left, so we look up to you for inspiration. To all the officials, commissars, and fighters, to our veterans, the former SG, the former National Chair, the former TG, and the former DSG. I'm declaring you veterans. Thank you very much for being here with us today. To our valued guests, I thank you very much. When we disperse here, you'll get SMSs on your phones. And to the women out there, I want to say to you, I know you continue to live, you continue to inspire, you continue to soldier on, despite all the obstacles that are coming our way. I salute you. Thank you very much, National Chair. Amandla, Matla, Matimba. Se re tlo se dirang gone jwalo ke a le dumedisha ka moka re tlo tšea matšoba a re a bee mo go robetšeng mme Winnie Madikizela Mandela le Zinzi Mandela e le sešupo se se tšwang pelong ya rena re le basadi mo go EFF re leboga tlhompho ebile re leboga ka kudu le lerato le ba re bontšitšeng lona ebile le go lwela tokologo ka maphelo a bona. Presidente o tlo thoma a tšee matšoba a mathomo o tlo a bea mo go robetšeng Mama Winnie. And then go tlo latela a bee gape Gola Mama Zinzi. And then go tlo latela di officials ka go beya letšoba le tee ka morago ga mowe re tlo latela ka all the commissars and all the women and all our special guests go beya letšoba le tee mo go robetšeng basadi ba re ba hlomphang. Go latela the officials.
Thank you very much. We are going to disperse. The other commissars and fighters will continue to put down the flowers. President, thank you very much. I know you have so much on your plate and the commitments of today. Please feel free to continue. Siyabulela kakhulu. Officials, Deputy President, SG, and all of you commissars. President, you are released.
Many places. Yeah. Okay, sharp. I'll see you there. I'm trying to I'll go to Mama.
commissars and fighters and our valued guests. Can I have your attention, please? Commissars, fighters, our guests, we are going to Sud in Soweto for lunch. Please, let's make way to Sud. I'm going to send the directions on the WhatsApp group, and I'm going to ask Kuma to send it to our valued guests. Desmond and Kuma, please take our valued guests to Sud in Soweto. Let's meet there now, commissars and fighters. Thank you.